Hey, what's going on, Who Dat Nation? It is yours truly, TJ Jones. I am the host of the State of the Saints podcast. Oh, yeah, my bad. I was looking at something. I am the host of the State of the Saints podcast. Thank you so much for checking out the State of the Saints podcast, where we talk New Orleans Saints. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think we have some breaking news here in regards to Matt Rule. Matt Rule, Carolina Panthers coach, has been fired. He has been given the old axe, if you will. He's out as the head coach of the Carolina Panthers, and I'm pretty sure, shouts out to my guy Mike. I'm pretty sure he's extremely excited about that. But we're here to talk about the New Orleans Saints and give you all the final thoughts on the New Orleans Saints Week 5 game versus the Seattle Seahawks. We know that the Saints get the victory by a score of 39-32. Wasn't the best game in the world, when it comes to like wanting to see some of the things you wanted to see from the Saints. But nevertheless, a win is a win. Just win the game. We'll figure it out later. All right. But I think we're all excited about the effort and everything that Taysom Hill did, put the team on his back. This definitely looked like you know what this game reminded me of? It reminded me of that game where the Saints played the Minnesota Vikings. I want to say it was in the playoffs, and then you had like Taysom Hill cooking, and they end up taking him out, and everybody was like, man, why didn't put Taysom Hill? Why didn't keep using him? Why didn't keep using him? Well, it seemed like to me like they did yesterday what they should have did in that Minnesota game. But, yeah, Taysom Hill, he definitely delivered for the New Orleans Saints. And it couldn't have come at a better time because the Saints definitely needed to win this football game. Also, some of the things that I've observed, I understand that Deontay Hardy ended up getting hurt, but I think that, he pretty much checked out before the season even started. I mean, you can tell in his body language, the way he was running the ball, it just seemed like it just was a level of disinterest. Yeah, Traquan Smith, definitely not the answer. If he's the answer, you need to change the question. Mark Ingram, I'm going back because yesterday I was fresh off the game. Now, when I'm talking to you right now, I actually went back and watched the game. Yeah, it's not looking real good with Mark Ingram. I don't know if he's hurt or I don't know if it's just Father Time catching up with him, but he definitely doesn't look like the same running back. And that is alarming. You know what I'm saying? That is alarming. I kind of like wrote it off because he only gets like around 9 to 10 carries a game. But when you look at it, when you want somebody to come in and be a change of pace, you expect better out of Mark Ingram. He's definitely a Saints legend, but you need more out of your backup running back than what Mark Ingram is giving you right now. Like I said, I didn't want to overreact because I didn't want to overreact because it was fresh off the game. And I know sometimes like our emotions get the best of us, and sometimes like our emotions allow us to say certain things that aren't warranted. But based on like what I was saying out of Mark Ingram, and I'm not even just talking about just the overall running. I'm talking about the decision making. Like when you see Alvin Kamara, like as soon as he get the ball, he's shooting through a hole. Like you see that one cut, like, okay, this is where I'm going. It seemed like to me it's a little bit of a delay. It seemed like there's a little bit of delay when it comes to Mark Ingram. And that happens. Like I'm 36 years old. And anybody that's been, young in your 20s, God bless you, all right? And enjoy these moments because they won't last, okay? But when you're young, you're playing basketball with your friends, like you looking up like you're aware, you catching that rebound, you putting that ball back in, you're shooting, you're jumping over people's head, like you're doing all these different things because your instincts are like this. But when you start to get older, your instincts start to like slow down. That rebound that you probably would have got with no type of hesitation, now all of a sudden it's now this other guy got it, or in Mark Ingram's case, usually like when you're like 21, 22, you're shooting through the hole. Now it's like you're thinking about it, and that little brief second causes you to lose some yards. I hate to see this, but it happens to all great running backs, all good running backs. It happens. Like I said, yesterday I was giving them the benefit of the doubt because I was like, well, maybe it's just because, I don't know, it was right after the game, but going back and watching that, I see what people are talking about. I'm not saying that it can't be fixed or, maybe it's something that they can't work on. But as of right now, like he's running like an old running back. Like he's running like an old running back. And then, he did get injured in that game in against the Minnesota Vikings. I don't know the magnitude. I don't know exactly why he went into the tent. And I don't know if it's like something that's kind of lingering with him and he's playing through it. I don't know. But you need explosiveness. You need better decision making from a legend like that, a Saints legend. So hopefully he can get back on it. I'm not going to say it's the worst thing in the world because we're talking about a guy that's getting 9-10 carries a game. And if you're going to use Taysom Hill alongside with the backfield, along with Alvin Kamara, then I'm not mad at that because you're only expecting for him to maybe run the ball like 9 or 10 times when Alvin Kamara needs a Gatorade break. So, but that is something that I did observe. And I know yesterday I was kind of defending that. And it was all because, I didn't like when we watching a game, we're watching for the results, right? We want good execution. When they're not giving us good execution in certain times, like we kind of zone out, we become frustrated. And there's a lot of raw emotions when a game is over with. I like to kind of let things kind of compress a little bit, and then I go back to it. But I definitely see what a lot of people were talking about when it came to Mark Ingram on yesterday. Need to do a better job. Another thing, defensively, the secondaries, the safeties. That ain't it, bro. That is not it. The safeties of the New Orleans Saints have to do a better job. I'm very disappointed when it comes to Tyrann Mathieu and some of his efforts at certain times. I feel like, he kind of like picks and chooses his spots to when he wants to tackle. He wanted no part of DK Metcalf rolling downhill. I understand that that's a big boy right there, but, man, you got to get him on the ground. You never know what can happen. Like, you could have tackled him. Saints could have had a goal line stance, and instead of like 7 points, they probably could have had 3 points. You never know. Like, you can't just phone it in. And I just feel like there's a level of disinterest. I'm still not sold on this Saints coaching staff. I know they won yesterday, but I'm still not sold on them. Every now and then you win a game in spite of the coaching, in spite of like who's on the sidelines. Like you end up winning games like that. But I'm not sold on this coaching staff. The fact that the safeties, the body language of the defense, the body language when it comes to like certain plays, it don't seem like people really care about accountability. That's very concerning. We got to find ways in order to get these safeties involved. Now, I expect for like Chris Harris Jr. to get a little bit more playing time. I understand like he really wasn't out there that much because he just got to the team. but I expect Chris Harris Jr. to be a part of this team going forward, playing defense, because they need him. They need him in a major way because this safety, Justin Evans, I like him. I know he's a real success story dealing with those injuries, but that ain't it. That ain't it, man. Them boys were getting beat over the top. Like, it looked like 2015 out there. Like, it's been a while. Like, I got to give them credit. It's been a while since we've seen some deep passes go down the field and seeing these guys, like, catch these passes behind Saints defenders. It's been a while. And it's just amazing to actually see this stuff. Like, we really haven't really seen consistent down the field touchdowns by teams over the Saints like this in a while. So they got to get better safety play from the safeties. That includes Tyrann Mathieu, Marcus May, who's been injured. I don't know what's going on with that. But hopefully Chris Harris, I understand he's about 32 or 33 years old. His best football is behind him, but I think that he'll be able to do a little bit better than what we've seen some of these other safeties do when they came in. But let's go ahead and let me stroll up a little bit and start answering your questions and reading your comments. We're going to start with Ghost 187. He says half of the word also Alvin Kamara is running down their throats. Can't just say things without proper context, bro. Appreciate it though. Let's see. Half of what I get. Are you talking to me or are you talking to somebody else? Half of were also Alvin Kamara running down their throats. Can't just say without proper context. I'm not sure exactly what that means. I don't know. Maybe talking to somebody else. Molly Mall, you want to win the game. Give the ball to Trey Con. Nah, you definitely don't want to do that. Give it to who?
Hell no. To the no. Hell to the no.
Nah, if you want to lose a game, I mean, come on, man. You got to catch some of them passes. You got to catch some of them passes that Andy was throwing to you, especially that pass where Andy Dalton was like, he stepped up in the pocket after, avoiding the sack, and you wide open, the ball go through your hands. Like, come on, man. This ain't college football right now. This the pros. I think Adebo will rebound. He went against a very savvy vet wide receiver in Tyler Lockett. Yeah, Tyler Lockett doing that to a lot of wide receivers out there. And also, man, I don't think Paulson Adebo is 100% healthy. I don't think he's healthy. Like, high ankle sprains don't heal like that. Anybody ever had a high ankle sprain? I'm telling you, like, he's out there, but I don't think he's at 100% just yet. What about Abram Smith? I don't think he the answer either. I don't think he the answer. But, I mean, you just need somebody that can just be able to give you a few positive yards. Dwayne Washington, I like him, but I just think the Saints want to keep him on special teams. Tony Jones Jr., I'm pretty sure they're going to probably activate him. They waived him for this game, but I'm pretty sure they're going to bring him back. He's a shell of himself now. His confidence is shot. I don't know if his confidence is shot, but I think that it just comes a time where you want to do well. You want to do everything that you can, but, your body just won't allow you. Like there's times where, you might want to do something athletically or it's something that you used to do when you were young and just can't do it no more. You can't do it with the same speed. You can't do it with the same instincts. I mean, it just happens. Like, the world has a way of catching up with us. I don't think that it has anything to do with, him not trying or him lack confidence. I don't think he lacks confidence at all. Just think that it just comes a time where you start to get older and some of those things slow down. I had to check on y'all, especially my dude TJ had to play Peacemaker. What are we talking about? Talking about yesterday during halftime? Nah, I was fine. I was just upset. Like, you get upset at when a team is capable of doing better, and they weren't, and they wasn't doing it, And I stand by what I said. I sit up here today on a Monday morning, and I still lack confidence in this coaching staff. Yeah, I'm saying? It's good that the Saints won, but I still feel like this coaching staff isn't the answer. I still don't feel like this solved anything. I mean, hopefully I'm wrong, and we're talking around week 10, week 11, that this was the start of a turnaround for the New Orleans Saints. But as of right now, I don't trust this coaching staff. I hope Lattimore and Olave don't miss too many games. That Olave hit looked nasty. Yeah, I think that you're probably not going to get Olave this Sunday versus the Cincinnati Bengals. When you look at like concussion protocol and what happened to Tua Tagovailoa, what happened to Teddy Bridgewater on yesterday, and also what happened to Hines out there with the Colts on Thursday night, I just think that they're trying to buckle down on this type of stuff. And now it's like everybody looking at it. It's almost like when, Kaepernick took a knee. Now we looking at everybody who's trying to take a knee. Who took a knee today? It's kind of like now the cameraman is trying to zero in on guys looking and walking with spaghetti legs and stuff. So they already tried to change, the protocols. Well, they already changed the protocols of how they're going to approach this. So I don't expect for him to play. And honestly, I don't want him to play, right? Look, Chris Olave is a special player, and I'm not trying to see him jeopardize his future as the future of the New Orleans Saints at the wide receiver position for him to going out there trying to risk a game versus the Cincinnati Bengals for our viewing and enjoying pleasure. I don't want to see that. Like, so if he's concussed, he's dealing with a concussion, don't let him play. I'd rather have Chris Olave down the line than trying to risk him to go out there against Cincinnati, because I want him to be able to catch the ball and make me feel like a winner inside. Like, put the man on the sidelines. I don't care if that means you're rolling with what you finished the game with. I'd rather have this man healthy down the line than to have him out there trying to risk another injury in a game versus Cincinnati. It also wasn't much blocking on Ingram's play. I was seeing 2 and 3 Vikings behind the line a lot of times. Well, that's a pretty good defensive front they got there, bro. That's a pretty good defensive front. But yeah, I get what you're saying. Man, with them instincts, man. Like, seriously, some of y'all know what I'm talking about, man. You're in your 20s, like, man, your mind moving like this, like, man. And then when you hit your 30s, it's like, it's just like that, like some of the things that you wish that you could do, like, man, I should have caught that. Man, I should have jumped. Man, I could have jumped. Come on, man. It happens. It happens, man. It happens to the best of us. That's why football is a young man's game. Those young guys out there, man, they can take them hits, get back up, and continue to play. Those veterans, you start getting older, those injuries start to linger a little bit longer than it did when you were in your 20s. Let me see. Kerry Watson says, morning, TJ. Where's the DBs at? All through training camp, they were supposed to be the strongest position group, but they are getting toasted game after game. Well, yes, the DBs leave a lot to be desired over the last couple of weeks. Even though I think Lattimore had a bounce back game, against DK Metcalf. Look, I just think that it's a chemistry thing. And I've said this, at the beginning of the season. I said there's going to be times where we're probably going to have some games where it's like when the Saints played the Las Vegas Raiders when Malcolm Jenkins first came along. You have a brand new secondary, and it involves communication. Like, versus, like, we have to understand, our secondary, for the most part, has been virtually intact for the last 2-3 years. Like, Marcus Williams, Marshawn Lattimore, PJ Williams, like, these dudes basically came in together. And then if you add like Ken Crawley coming in every now and then, he was here when a lot of those guys were there. CJ Gardner-Johnson was drafted here. These guys had a level of chemistry. Like, they knew one another. They kind of finished each other's sentences. They knew each other's tendencies. And, now it's like Marcus May is new. Justin Evans is new. Tyrann Mathieu is new. And it's a new secondary that we're dealing with. So it's going to take some time in order for those guys to be able to be on the same page as a collective group. This is what I expected. I expected for them to give up some big plays every now and then until they actually figure it out. I think that it's probably going to come a time where they probably are going to figure it out. But I just think that when you have a bunch of new pieces, and not to mention, you have some really new pieces like Chris Harris out there, Justin Evans, JT Gray. Like, JT Gray is a special teams guy. He's not used to playing in the starting rotation. So you're going to have some setbacks because you have a bunch of guys out there that may not possess the level of talent that you're looking for at certain positions. And then you also have guys who are kind of doing their own thing and they don't understand one another because, there's a lack of communication. There's a lack of camaraderie. So it's gonna be like that sometime. we can't just play Ingram on obvious running plays. I agree with that, but there's been times where he was out there in the passing game and, Andy ended up throwing the ball to an open receiver. Sometimes, he can serve as that check down. But, yeah, I mean, he was out there for passing plays, a few of them. Get a bruiser running back as soon as possible to compliment Kamara, then we're cooking. Yeah, I already said I feel like, a guy like Bo Scarborough or something like that, I think he'll be a good change of pace back for the New Orleans Saints. But what I know. I'm glad they won, but I do not have no faith this team. That's the one thing that I thought we could hold our heads on was defense. That's not the case. The big plays got to stop. Well, I agree the big plays have to stop, but I also see, they've been having a lot of injuries and issues in that secondary. It's going to take some time, man. It's not going to happen overnight. And I just think that a lot of us look at years past, but we're not really looking at the fact that these guys were together. Like, these guys came into the league together. For the exception of Bradley Roby, like, these guys are system guys. Marcus Williams was a system guy. Lattimore was a system guy. P.J. Williams was a system guy. Paulson Adebo was a system guy. I mean, C.J. Gardner-Johnson, system guy. Like, all these guys basically came into the same system and they kind of just knew each other. You know what I'm saying? They knew what was expected versus the Honey Badger who has, over the course of time, had to learn the Arizona Cardinals system, the Houston Texans system, the Kansas City Chiefs system. Marcus May been with the Jets all that time. Chris Harris, he was out there in Denver learning that system. Like, it's guys have been in the league, but they have been running a different defense versus guys that have came into this system knowing what to do. So you have some guys that actually been acclimated and embedded into this system, and then you got other guys out here that's trying to learn what certain verbiage means and what this other person on the side of me capabilities are. So I just think that we just need to give it some time. I mean, for the most part, when we need them, you know what I'm saying, they making these stops. You know what I'm saying? We're seeing some pass deflections and stuff like that. Yeah, you're giving away a few in the game, but it's not to a point where it's just absolutely embarrassing and egregious, like when Brandon Browner was out there, like, he about to get toasted. Jason David, like, he about to get toasted. Fred Thomas, he about to get toasted. What was the other one named? Devontae Harris, he was getting toasted. It's not like that. These guys will give up some big plays. He'll give up some big plays, but, for the most part, they'll kind of buckle down. And you ain't just seeing the same thing happen over and over again. It's probably like one of the first times, like, in a while, I seen like the same thing happen over and over again. 504 says, hey, TJ, did you see what I was talking about with Traquan? He made some great catches on first and second, but on third, drop. Yeah, I seen that. And look, Traquan is who he is. I will say this, like, I don't expect for him to do anything. He's only in the game because you had some injuries. But my goodness, man, you got to catch that ball, man. You gotta help out your quarterback. And that was an opportunity for him to help out his quarterback, and he didn't. Everyone experiences a huge drop-off in athletic talent between age 32 and 35. That's just science. Yeah, I mean, I don't think anything is wrong with Mark. I just think that, Father Time is undefeated. Even though when you look at, Cam Jordan, you kind of question it. We won yesterday, but I'm not happy. This team is not disciplined, and that's on coaching. The defensive secondary looks like Fred Thomas days. We have to do better. We are yet to play in complete game. Well, look, I don't know if a complete game I don't know if, this team is capable of playing a complete game. At this particular point, I just think that what you see is like what you get. The secondary, like I said, it's going to take some time for them to improve, but for the most part, like they're able to get off the field on third down. There was a couple plays where, they went over the top, up top, pork chop, but you also seen like them getting sacks. Like 2 of those sacks that they had yesterday were coverage sacks. I mean, if you look at it, like the one that Cam Jordan had, where you seen like Geno Smith kind of scrambling around the pocket because nobody was open. right? You had like 2 sacks came off coverage sacks. You know what I'm saying? They were coverage sacks. So there's some room for improvement. But if we're looking for Reeves on one side, Deion Sanders on the other, Ed Reed, Rod Woodson at safeties, I think we sadly mistaken here. I just think that this team defensively, they're good, but they're not they're not 2020 good. They're not, like they not last 2021 good. Like they just middle of the pack. They just middle of the pack. But I guess like based on what we've seen offensively, for the exception of this past game, you rely on your defense to really start making some plays. But they deserve a stinker, to be honest with you. They deserve a stinker, man. The way that they kept this offense in the game when this offense was trying to figure it out all these weeks, I can look at this game and be like, well, they have been, keeping this team in the game for the most part, so why not? And it's also something that a lot of people are gonna have to accept. Just something else people gonna have to accept. Geno Smith is pretty damn good. Okay, I understand. Like we see Geno Smith, but Geno Smith is pretty doggone good, and that's something we're gonna have to accept. All right, the man was making some plays. Man was throwing some dimes. Did y'all not see that pass that he threw on the run? Went right over a linebacker head. Well, I want to say a cornerback head, and he caught it. You know what I'm saying? Like it was caught. I mean, this dude was like wheeling and dealing. I know we want to believe like whoever quarterback that comes in, we stop Brady, we stop Rodgers, we did all these different things here. So who is Geno Smith? But the dude is pretty doggone good, and that's just something we have to accept. Maybe the defense was trying to do their best, but maybe this dude was playing pretty doggone good. To be honest with you, the Saints kind of got off the hook a couple times because Geno Smith should have had at least 4 touchdowns in this game. Should at least have about 4 touchdowns. DK Metcalf dropped one. The pass, I want to say it went right through a tight end hands. Like, dude was dealing. Okay, so anybody just, okay, man, what's wrong with the defense? Maybe Geno Smith is just pretty doggone good. Maybe he just had a really good game. So sometimes it's like that. Like, you look at like Tampa last week versus Kansas City, right? I'm not comparing Geno Smith to Patrick Mahomes, but that's a really good defense Tampa has. But sometimes you go up against a guy who's pretty doggone good that can be able to rise above any type of defense you can throw at him. And I think that was the case with Geno. It's funny that Dalton got Alvin involved, but Jameis can't. I'm not getting into that. I'm not, look, for real. Like, I'm not getting into that. Like, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. I'm not looking at what another person does and what another person lacks. I'm not doing that. Both of these guys are the quarterbacks of this team. Well, whoever's out there got my support. When we're looking at, oh man, this person does better than this, I'm over the quarterback controversy. I'm over it. I'm not even going there. Like, when we try to break down, well, man, you seen that pass? Jameis can't do that. You seen that pass? Andy can't do that. Well, you seen this? Taysom should be doing this. Like, bro, all these guys play for the Saints. All these guys are good. All these guys can help this team win, in my opinion. And it is what it is, man. I'm over the quarterback controversy. Whoever is out there, they got my full support. All right? Maybe whoever the quarterback is a deal breaker to some, but not me. I got love for every last one of these guys, and I'm happy that Taysom Hill found success. I'm happy that Andy Dalton is doing a good job, and I would be happy if the Saints brought Jameis Winston out there. I'd still be rooting for him, wanting him to help the team win. So all this quarterback controversy about who can do better and who need to do what, look, it's about winning. Whoever can win, help this team win, I'm about that. But this whole quarterback controversy, I think we need to stop with this, man. We need to stop. Like, we're forgetting a really important point, and that's that we're all Saints fans. Like, who cares? If the quarterback can go out there and help us win, who cares, like, who he is? I don't care what he is. I don't care if he's black. I don't care if he's white. I don't care if he can throw the ball 60 yards. I don't care if his max is 40 yards. If he can help the team win, I can care less, as long as they go out there and they generate success. all this stuff, people calling up shows and putting stuff on social media talking about Jameis can do this, Andy can do this, Taysom can do that. Who cares? Like, I care about winning. How about enjoying the win? How about enjoying the fact that we haven't had a winning Monday in 3 weeks? Like, who cares? Like, I don't. That's just how I see it. I've been telling people Geno was getting good since last year. His interception was mostly off tip balls off receivers' hands. Well, that's good, man. I'm happy for Geno Smith, man. It's good to see a guy change the trajectory of his career. Now we turn our attention to Cincinnati. Yeah, we'll talk about Cincinnati in the upcoming weeks and getting everybody prepared for that. Fumbles are just luck. I don't know. I don't know. In the last couple of weeks, a lot of teams been having a lot of luck off the Saints. Then I think the offense was more fluid and creative this game. Taysom Hill touchdown was beautiful. Look no further than using Taysom Hill and how they utilized him in this game while the Saints won. And that's it. Like, you ran the ball 48 times. I've been telling people for weeks. The Saints are a running team. I said they just don't know it yet. They are a running football team. And some people have to adjust their imagination because we have seen for years this being a team that throws the ball all over the place. We see Drew Brees go 28 of 31 for 305 and 3 touchdowns. And now we just want to see a quarterback replicate what Drew Brees has done. But as y'all can see, man, some teams actually just turn the page. And I just feel like this is a running team. And the Saints can really be a physical football team running a football, establishing a run, like running the ball down teams' throats. And if that's your calling card, who cares? Like, it's not like this can be sustainable. We've seen a couple of years ago, Jimmy Garoppolo threw the ball 10 times. 10 times in the NFC Championship game. 10. And they end up running the ball down the throats of the Green Bay Packers. So anybody that just feels like it may not be the most exciting thing. I think some of us want to look for excitement. Like, we want to see a ball go down the field 60 yards that Chris Olave for a touchdown. But guess what? If you're pounding the ball down a team's throat and it's a 12-play drive, guess what? When you get into the end zone, those are the same 6 points as that 62-yard bomb that Chris Olave is. So a lot of us, we have to we have to get away from that. Oh, I'm looking for the next Drew Brees type stuff, because this isn't the type of team. If the Saints are going to have sustainable success, they got to be able to establish the run. They're going to have to. Like, if people think no quarterback, I'm telling you, I don't care if it's Jameis, I don't care if it's Andy Dalton. None of these quarterbacks that the Saints have, they're going to be winning just basically solely on the arm of that quarterback. You got to be able to run the football. Now, if this was Drew Brees, you probably could, but none of these guys are going to win you the game with just throwing the ball more times than not. If they're throwing the ball more times than not, that means the Saints are down and it's just desperation time. But running the football needs to be the calling card of this team going forward. And as you can see, man, I mean, a lot of them power runs that they had, you know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of those plays that they had, like, set up for Alvin Kamara, set up for Taysom Hill, those are the type of plays that you need to be running. Now, like I said, it won't be an exciting game by no stretch, but somebody tell me what's more exciting than winning, all right? For real, what's more exciting than winning football games? I don't care how they do it. Just win the game. Just find ways to put the ball in the hands of your playmakers and watch them work. There is no quarterback controversy. When Jameis is healthy, he's the guy. As simple as that. The controversy between the fans, not the organization. And man, that's a good point right there. I just don't understand it. Like, who cares? Like, at the end of the day, who cares? Like, I don't care who the quarterback is, quite frankly, as long as they winning. I know some people are like, man, you just a Jameis supporter. You've been like supporting Jameis. Like, of course I'm gonna support Jameis Winston, he's the starting quarterback. Look, I don't care if it is Jameis Winston, Geno Torretta, Stoney Case, Scott Mitchell. I don't care who it is. Like, it can be the most mediocre quarterback, below mediocre. Like, if he's the quarterback of the Saints, he has my support. I ain't about to just like sit up here and just be bashing anybody about their plan, right? If the Saints would have decided to go with Andy Dalton over Jameis Winston at the beginning of the season, guess what? I would have been supportive of Andy Dalton. But it's like, but some people, what I learned in these spaces, what I've learned when it comes to people feel like if you don't have the same opinions as them, that means that you completely, they have this old saying, just throw the baby out with the bathwater. I may not necessarily agree with everything that you say, but there may be some validity. What people hear sometimes is their own interpretation of what you're actually saying. So if I say something like Jameis Winston is the starting quarterback of the Saints, it's like Jameis Winston is the starting quarterback of the Saints and none of these other quarterbacks matter. That's what I feel like people interpret. No, Jameis Winston is the starting quarterback because the New Orleans Saints dubbed him the starting quarterback. If you like Taysom Hill, and let's just say, okay, Jameis is the starting quarterback, dude, just because, you want Taysom Hill to be the starting quarterback, doesn't, you know what I'm saying? Like, don't mean that, and I'm talking about Jameis Winston. That does not mean that I don't like Taysom Hill. See, when people say like, okay, man, Taysom Hill shouldn't be the starting quarterback, they say, oh, you don't like Taysom. You don't want Taysom to succeed. No, that ain't true. That's not true. Taysom Hill is a valuable weapon to have, as everybody can see. We're talking about two completely different things. And I just think that sometimes people don't understand that. It's like Taysom Hill has my undying support. Andy Dalton has my undying support. If you say Jameis Winston, if you like Andy, then that means you don't like Andy Dalton. It's like people put their own interpretations on things instead of like listening to what people are actually saying. And, I think that people sometimes get mad because they're not really fully understanding what a point of view that somebody is trying to make. Like, we can basically be saying the same thing. We might just disagree on one particular sentence. You ever like read a contract and the contract looked good, but this last sentence right here, I don't know about this, kind of the same thing. But I just think that people have their own opinions. And sometimes like it's hard for us to like try to fathom or accept other people. Roughing call on Brady was stupid. Same thing happened to Olave and no call. Hopefully he's okay. A W feels good. Love the show. Thank you, Joseph. Look, I don't think like the tackle by Kobe Bryant, I don't think was malicious. I don't. I just think that he was just trying to get the ball out of, out of hands of Olave, trying to break up the pass. It's a little bit of a violent, like way of doing it. But the way that he was behind him, like I don't expect for him to like really know that he was going to slam Olave's head to the ground. So I don't think it was anything malicious on that. So it's just football. You know what I'm saying? It was just a football play, him just trying to make a play. I don't think that it was anything like vicious or malicious behind it. But as far as that roughing a passer call on Tom Brady, look, we all know what's up. The NFL loves Tom Brady. His success is imperative to the NFL. They want him to be in a playoff picture somewhere. They want him to be a NFC South champion somewhere to add on to his legacy because they know most likely it's probably going to be his last year based on everything that's going on. So they're going to try to do everything that they can to make sure that they protect him. But I mean, I don't even like the Falcons, but that roughing the passer penalty was some bull. So I guess the 14 touchdowns he threw in the 3 he ran for had nothing to do with that 5-2 record, huh? Well, look, I don't, like I said, at this particular point, King Arthur, like people can make these big debates about quarterbacks and who should be the quarterback, but man, count me out. When Taysom started, you all bashed him and he won the game. I didn't bash Taysom. I mean, I didn't bash Taysom as a quarterback. I just said that he wasn't the future of the Saints franchise as a quarterback. So, man, I didn't bash him. I just said it's not sustainable success, and it's not. I don't think. Look, it's not sustainable success. That has absolutely nothing to do with the way that we feel. And see, that's what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying. Like when you say stuff like Taysom Hill isn't a franchise quarterback, or you feel like, you know what I'm saying, he's not the future of the franchise, it's just like you automatically just dislike Taysom Hill. That's all they take from him. No, it doesn't matter if you say, I think that he benefits more in his Swiss Army role. That's going to keep him in the league for longer than him being actual quarterback. Think about this, all right? So let's just say, for example, Taysom Hill becomes a starting quarterback and it just doesn't pan out, right? He doesn't pan out. So would you want to see him on the sidelines with a clipboard? No, obviously not. You know what I'm saying? Based on what he did yesterday, I still like, it's not that you dislike the dude. And I just think that when people have their reservations about a player and it's like, well, he should do this. Well, I don't know about this. I think he should do this. Well, see, you hating on him. You hating on him. No, I'm not. Right? You know what I'm saying? Your wife tells you, okay, I think that painting will look good in the corner. I don't know about that, baby. Maybe we need to put it over here. You don't like the paint. I know you hated the paint. You hate the paint the whole. No, baby. Ain't nothing about the painting. I just feel like because this light is right here, I think it can shine down on the paint. And when people come in, they can just drag them to the paint. Like, we're saying, like, I don't understand that. Like, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes, like, it's not about hating. It's not about your dislike for a player. It's just you see things completely different. But that don't mean you dislike them. Like, I mean, what Saints fan dislikes Taysom Hill? I mean, who dislikes Taysom? I love Taysom Hill. I say, man, you wish you had a football team full of Taysom Hills. When it comes to like a certain role, primarily as a quarterback, I think that you can get more. And basically him being on the field, you can get more. That man is one of the greatest football players I've ever seen. Let's see. Why are we still talking about this ish with Taysom? Malik, because people are asking questions. I gotta respect people's answers. How do you know it's not sustainable? Because he gets hurt all the time, Joey. Like, if you notice, like, he got hurt as the starting quarterback last year. Year before that, he got hurt as a starting quarterback again. So it's not, you know what I'm saying? It hasn't been sustainable because as him playing that quarterback role, he's been hurt. And then for the most part, I mean, he's had more touchdowns running the football than he has passing the football, even as a quarterback. Even as a quarterback, he's had, like, the way that he scored touchdowns on yesterday, that's how he was scoring touchdowns as a quarterback. Right? So that may look good, you know what I'm saying? But it's not sustainable because it's gonna come a time where you're gonna have to, like, you know what I'm saying, make some throws or be able to keep a team in the game. And but like I said, I mean, what he's doing, I think it serves him better than just him dropping back 35, 40 times a game. I was right about running the ball 40 times, and now the Saints have their identity. Evans should be benched. Let's see, trade Jarvis to upgrade other positions. Look into pass rush, upgrade running back 2. Jameis is quarterback number 1. Look, I don't think nobody, like, I just think that was a bad outing. I like Justin Evans. He's done a pretty good job out there. You know what I'm saying? All things considered. Trading Jarvis Landry, definitely not on board with that. And running back number 2, upgrading that. I mean, that's something you might can look into. I see all those weapons and turn the ball over many times. Yeah, I mean, look, you got to be able to secure the football. You got to be able to secure you got to be able to keep it high and tight, right? And if you're not doing that, then you're doing a disservice to your team. You're right, Keynote, they're not coming at TJ. I mean, look, I don't think you're coming at. I'm just, like I said, I'm just answering the questions as what people want me to answer, I should say, and read the statements. That's basically what it is. If you want Jameis to start, you don't know football. I disagree with that. And I don't feel like that's a fair statement to make. I don't feel like that's a fair statement to make. Just like Joey, just like you have your opinions, everybody have theirs. I just want, you know what I'm saying? Like, I just want people to understand this doesn't benefit anything, because I'm sitting here and I've been blessed to do this for 5 seasons now. And, I'm just basically giving an opinion. It's not like Dennis Allen is watching this show right now and be like, you know what? I heard TJ say that, or I heard Joey say that Jameis Winston shouldn't start, so I'm not going to do that. Like, they're going to do what's in the best interest. And there's a lot of things that kind of go into it that we don't see, right? I mean, we can see these guys playing on Sunday, but we don't really see the work ethic or what they put forth during the week in order to prepare them for the game. So I don't want to say they don't know football. I just think that people support this dude, you know what I'm saying? And they want to see this dude succeed. They understand the talent that this dude possesses. You know what I'm saying? It's not a bad thing. Just like if a person wants Andy Dalton as a primary, you know what I'm saying, quarterback, there's nothing wrong with that. Like, all of this stuff is opinionated. But here's something I want everybody to take with them. All right. This is what I want you to take with you everywhere you go. All right. It is hard to change the mind of a person that's mind already made up. And that's what a lot of us try to go into conversations to do. We try to change the minds of the masses, and you're not going to do that. You know, it's almost like a person growing up as a Baptist, you know what I'm saying, their entire life, and you're trying to, you're trying to convert them to Judaism, you know what I'm saying, or you're trying to convert them to be a Buddhist, right? Like, it's kind of like that. Like, if a person's mind already made up, you're not going to change it. So I think that we need to go into conversations. I'm not going to say debates, conversations. And we need to have it to be open, right? Understanding that I'm not here to change anybody's mind, but I want to hear what they have to say. But when we go to, oh, this person is better, here's why, you crazy, it don't make no sense, you why you talking like this, it's just a waste of time, because you're not going to change a person's mind. Right? They have to come to that conclusion themselves. You're talking to your homeboy or your homegirl, man, that woman ain't good for you. Yeah, that guy ain't good for you. Until they make up in their mind, okay, man, this ain't good. This ain't a good situation for me. Guess what? They're going to stay in that same position, right? They have to come to that conclusion on their own. Now, some debates or some things may make a person change their mind, but if you live in the same world that I live in, 9 times out of 10, that ain't always the case. We need to stop. We need to get away from trying to make people feel and look at the world the way that we look at it, and understand that we're all different, right? The problem is when we come into like different situations when we're talking about Saints football and we feel like we just know everything. Like when people say stuff to me like, man, you said this a couple weeks ago. Yeah, I probably did it. And you were wrong. Okay, probably was. But I'm not sitting up here like I'm sitting on a golden throne or something like that. I'm sitting on an iron throne. For all those people that watch Game of Thrones, it's not like I'm sitting on an iron throne here and I'm like, my word is mine. You know what I'm saying? And maybe a lot of people may take my level of confidence and some of the takes that I'm saying, and it make it seem like I'm just being arrogant. But hey, we all have opinions, folks. But that's what makes us so special, and that makes the world so unique, is that we have these points of views. The problem is when you try to force your point of view down a person's throat and not allow them to get to that particular point on their own. So regardless to how you feel about Jameis, regardless how you feel about Taysom, Andy, the whole point is we're Saints fans, right? When this team win, we all collectively feel good about that, right? No matter who the quarterback was. If Jameis was to play, and some of you have your reservation about Jameis and they won yesterday, when you still say who that and be excited about that, I would. Same way with Andy, same way with Taysom. So if your allegiance and if your allegiance or you're watching a game hoping that a quarterback makes a mistake of your favorite team so you can feel validated about another quarterback or another player, I think you missed the point. Because I want the Saints to win, regardless of who's in the back. All right, who's in the backfield? I don't care. Like, just make it work. Them boys should be hyped and locked in like they did the fourth quarter of the first game. We need that morale boost. Yeah, I mean, let's cut down on these mistakes. Facts. Hit the like button. Yeah, if you enjoy the State of the Saints podcast and the content, please hit the like button. I would really appreciate that. Cam Jordan was straight head busting the Seahawks straight monster. Yeah, he was really going at Adam Lucas. who was a really good left tackle. I mean, really good tackle. He played left tackle, I want to say, at Washington State, if I'm not mistaken. But that's a guy that I thought like the Saints should have drafted. But he's gonna end up being pretty good, man. You got Charles Cross on one side, you got Adam Lucas on the other side. Seattle gonna be all right in the future because those are two really good guys right there. Was it me or was it Debo having a hard time keeping up with the Seahawks receiver? It wasn't you. He was having a rough game. I still don't feel like he's 100%. If you ever had a high ankle sprain and didn't get surgery for it, you know it's gonna take a while. It's gonna take a while for you to be able to get back to where you need to be. He's not there yet. He's not. I mean, he's a heck of a tackler. I can tell you that. He lowered that boom on that tight end. Man, he's probably one of the best tacklers in the secondary right now. Yeah, Cam Jordan was a beast. Get these likes up. I see 250 people. Yeah, we got 261 as of right now. So please hit the like button. And if you're new, please subscribe. Will do. Every time these refs throw a flag on the Saints, I'm in another zone. Yeah, it seems like it happens around the same time, especially like when it's time to like make sure we cover this point spread. Let's see. Good way to put it, TJ. Hit the like button if you enjoyed the SOTS. Let's see. Yo, just checking in. Andy, thank you for being here. Not Dalton. Better. Not Andy Dalton. Andy better. Let's see. Trading Jarvis is not popular, but as a coach, you have to make tough decisions. The lobby is better than expected, and we need upgrades at other positions to support our bottom line, which is running and defense. Jordan, I mean, look, that's not a bad look. I can understand where you're coming from. That makes sense. That makes perfect sense. But I don't think, like, to me, I'm trying to see a way I can put this. I don't think this offense is really as bad as people think that it is. It's just the execution, man. Like, we know that Alvin Kamara can run. You seen, you know what I'm saying? Like, we know that these guys can run block. I mean, they went over 200 yards rushing. I just think that it has a lot to do with confidence, the play calling, being, you know what I'm saying, like calling these plays with enthusiasm, with swag. Yeah, I feel like that is the type of stuff that's missing. I think we're getting that misconstrued with the fact that we need more. You know what I'm saying? I don't think that the Saints really just need more. And then on top of that, once again, Jordan, like if you're looking at a running back, if you're looking at another running back or change of pace back, it's not like you can't find a guy that can contribute and give you 9 good 9-10 carries a game off the street. Like, I don't think it's something that you have to go out here to make a trade for. You know, like I don't think that. Like, if you're gonna, like, your main feature back is Alvin Kamara, who running the ball really well, right? And if you want to get a change of pace back where I got, you know, if he goes on the sideline, maybe get a little Gatorade or something like that, okay, cool. But I don't think that it warrants a trade. You know, I don't think it's, you know, it warrants, you know what I'm saying, a trade. And honestly, no team is really going to give up a top player at this particular stage of the season. You know what I'm saying? Like, unless this player is like completely disgruntled or they just not happy with their situation to a point where it is, you know, unreconcilable differences or something like that. Like, no team is really going to just give you a player, you know what I'm saying, to be able to make up for what you're actually losing. And more than likely, you're probably going to have to find somebody that's out there on the street that you probably can bring in, because no team, if they got any player out there that can give them any type of spark or any type of production, they're not going to be willing to give that up. Okay, so yeah, I think that, you know, having Jarvis Landry here, I think it definitely, you know what I'm saying, is a benefit, because I just look at this team, man, and I don't think what they have on offense is the issue. It's just the execution on offense. Like, I think the Saints got the pieces to have one of the best offenses in the league. It's just the execution and the confidence and the play calling. But, I mean, that's an interesting point that you make. I can see why you're saying that, but I just don't feel like I don't feel like this is like, oh, we need to fix this. Like it has everything to do with communication and execution. If you're asking a guy to do something, it's just like a train wreck out there, and it's not like self-inflicted like it has been. It's not like we're seeing this stuff because his team isn't talented. Like Alvin Kamara, we know he's talented, but he fumbled the football. You know what I'm saying? Like we know we got the right guy at the running back position, but we can do without the fumbles. TJ, I just seen a report that teams are trying to pounce, no pun intended, on Carolina players after Rule's firing. Well, I don't think that's gonna happen. I think they're gonna end up finding themselves another coach. And they got the right pieces to be a good team. They got the right pieces. Like I ain't gonna hate on them dudes. Like they got a really good defense. I think the confidence between quarterback and receivers are kind of at an all-time low. So you may need to want to look at another quarterback. Man, you got some guys that's coming out of college. They're going to be pretty good. C.J. Stroud, Young. From Alabama. I mean, you got some guys that can actually throw that football. So I don't think they're going to want to get rid of anybody because they got a team you can build around. You put a quarterback around there, a quarterback that these guys can actually buy into and believe, and then maybe get another guy at the running back position that can be a complementary of Christian McCaffrey. I think you'll be fine. They'll be stupid if they create a fire sale. That would be ridiculous. Do you think Ingram has lost his stuff? It looks like it. It looks like it. But I mean, I don't know if it's injury or it's just the fact that, well, I will say this. Over the years, Mark Ingram has always been like a preheat running back. And by that, if anybody had like a gas stove or even an electric stove, right? You have to preheat, right? So you preheat at the 375. That's probably the most average time when you're baking something, right? You turn it on and it preheats and the oven starts to get hot, right? It gets hot until it gets to 375 and then it beeps to let you know it's at 375. Mark Ingram has always been that guy. He's gotten stronger as the game goes on, right? He just doesn't come off the bench and just breaks a 40-yard run. Like he kind of like cooks, you know what I'm saying? Like 5 yards here, 7 yards here. And that's like, let's just say you give him 20 carries. Around carry number 11, carry number 12, that's when you start to see him like start to cook. Somebody tell me, like it's probably been a handful of times, and maybe you probably seen this. I didn't. When have you ever just seen like Mark Ingram just like straight off the bus, just absolutely just start wrecking shop? I mean, it's very rare. Like he normally gets stronger as the game goes on. So he's like a preheat running back versus a guy like Latavius Murray. Like, look, he can come off cold and still give you about 5 to 7 yards a clip because to me, he's always been that guy. He's always, for the most part throughout his career, he's been a backup running back. So he had to kind of start, start hot, he probably not going to see the ball again. So it's different circumstances here. So I think it has something to do with the fact that he's getting older, but also it has something to do with the fact of the type of running back that he is. He's always been a preheat running back. He's always been that way. He's always been a guy where, he gets stronger as the game go by. I mean, as the game go on. You ask him to come in second, third quarter for one run, cold as ice, probably not going to be able to get 5 or 6 yards. I think the coaching staff is building chemistry and they own swagger as well. This is the first year of Sean being gone. I think they'll get it. I hope so, man, because I'm gonna be honest. Like once again, I'm not sold on this coaching staff. Salute TJ. Dalton seems like he has command of the offense and he takes what the defense gives him. D had an off game. I expect an improvement next week. D Young, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Like the profile picture of my alma mater, Jack State University, got Travis Hunter and Shedeur Sanders and Coach Prime up there. So shouts out to you, man. I'm scared of Joe coming here. Look what Geno did. Well, I'm not. I think in certain the biggest issue that I have with the New Orleans Saints sometimes is when they don't feel like they have to respect the quarterback. Sometimes those quarterbacks that come in like shock them, right? I think like when you look at Kirk Cousins, right? Last week, Kirk Cousins had an awful game, prime time. I think they played Philly. Looked like straight trash. Looked like he ain't belong in a quarterback conversation. Looked like he shouldn't even been in there, like as far as starting quarterbacks. And I think that sometimes the Saints actually believe those press clippings. When you look at a guy like Geno Smith, yeah, he's averaging 77% completion percentage. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, Geno Smith ain't really that good, right? It's regardless of if we want to accept this or not, it's psychological. It's like you going to the park, you about 6'2", 6'3", right? And there's the other guy, he about 5'6", 5'7", short guy, right? You about 4 or 5 inches taller than him. You looking down on him. Oh man, shoot, man, he let him come to the rim. I'm gonna block this. I'm gonna send that over there across the street somewhere. And then all of a sudden, like this dude out here, he wheeling and dealing, crossing you up, crossing the whole team up. He laying the ball up. Like, man, what we got? Damon Stoudemire out here? You know, like it's like that, right? Sometimes you can underestimate your competition, and I feel like because Geno Smith doesn't have a culture of winning. Just because Geno Smith has not had success as a starting quarterback in the league, it can kind of affect you. Versus a guy like Joe Burrow, last time you really seen him of a game of any significance, he was in the Super Bowl. So you're going to be dialed in. You're going to be focused, right? You're going to be focused on T. Higgins. You're going to be focused on Boyd. You're going to be focused on Chase, right? You're going to be focused on Joe Mixon because you got to, right? Because this is a really good football team. So you're psychologically programmed to believe that this team is really, really good. And now you're going to try to buckle down. So I look, not only do I expect for the Saints to be much more focused in this game, I expect for guys like Michael Thomas to play. I expect for guys like Jarvis Landry to play. I do. Because it's something about a game where you're going up against a team and they give you stiff competition and you have on the opposite side of the ball guys that are supposed to be your counterparts, you know what I'm saying? Like you're in the same category as you statistically, being the best receivers in the game, being the best running backs in the game, catching the ball out the backfield. It's something about that. A couple years ago, for all my football historians out there, probably remember this game. It was the game where Megatron, Calvin Johnson went for 300 yards receiving. Right? They played the Dallas Cowboys in that game. On the opposite side, you had a Dez Bryant in his prime. And when you seen Calvin Johnson catching all them passes and triple coverage, double coverage, you seen Dez Bryant on the sidelines hooping and hollering, wanting Tony Romo to give him the ball, right? It's because it's a competition thing, right? These are the guys that are your constituents, right? This is a guy where we're talking about top 5, top 10 in the league when it comes to your particular category. I got to let them know that I'm better than this guy. You know, like, okay, y'all the young team up next, right? Y'all the young squad up next. You're the next young receiver up next, but it's my time now. So I think they're going to be way, way more motivated in this game than it is playing the Seattle Seahawks. I mean, it's not something that I feel like you do intentional. It's just psychological. You know what I'm saying? Like when you see a team that statistically don't look very good, look at the team that they have, it don't seem like they're going to light nothing up. You kind of, play down to your competition. But I don't think they're going to be playing down to their competition this time. I think they're going to be really focused. And we know when the Saints have these big bat-type games, as I like to call them, they rise to the occasion. But that was under Sean Payton. I don't know what they're going to do with Dennis Allen. I think Rashid Shaheed gets called up from the practice squad this week to replace Hardy. We play man too much and blitz a lot. Well, if they don't blitz, how they going to get to the quarterback? They're not getting home with 4. They're rushing 4, so how you going to get there? And as far as the man-to-man coverage, I'm not too mad at that. Like you said, you're going to win some, you're going to lose some. But I don't want people to blow this thing out of proportion. I just think that they just had a bad game. And based on what this defense has been doing all season long, I think they're entitled to have a stinker. Take away Taysom Hill ridiculous performance. What Andy Dalton do? Managed the game and did enough to help the team win. You know, but that's what he did. He helped the team win. I'm not like I look. We like to paint this picture of if a quarterback is not throwing for 200 or 300 yards, they're not instrumental in the success of the team winning. Andy Dalton gave the New Orleans Saints the best third down conversion rate that they had all season long. There was a couple passes that he threw. The screen pass to Alvin Kamara, right? He set up perfectly. The pass that he threw to Traquan Smith that Traquan dropped. Fighting the pressure, stepping up in the pocket. Like I'm not going to do that. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to just say, hold on 1 second, folks. Hold on. All right, folks, I apologize, but I got a meeting that I need to get to. I do apologize for that. We'll try to see possibly if I can get back, do a show a little bit later on this evening, if I can. But I just want to say thank you to everybody that chimed in. Ask that you hit the like button. Previous episodes available on iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Anchor FM, and also a part of the Pigskin Podcast Network. Hope everybody has a great morning, noon, night, whenever you're checking out this podcast. And like always, all I got to say is, who dat?